Good morning, everyone. It is Easter Monday morning, and back in the shop again. It's time for lights. So I'm here with my friend John. Say hello, John.
Hello.
You missed an opportunity to say hello, John. Then that would have been brilliant.
I did that last time, and I got.
You got panned in the comments for it. Yeah.
I decided this time to just.
So John is one of my old friends from school, and is now Frampton Electrical Services Limited. Links. And he's going to be doing all of my lights for me. He's come in and he's now judging all of the electrical. He's already looked at the consumer unit in the cabinet in the corner and been like, well, that's pretty shoddy and that's really cheap. And I'm like, oh. So yeah, show us what's wrong with it. This is what people don't look at. You see.
I mean, just the usual. It's just untidy. Messy, cables aren't supported, doesn't look like there's a lot of pride in their workmanship.
Sad face. Yeah, alright, well at least it's hidden in the cupboard.
Check that it's safe.
Yeah, it should be good, but this is the thing, the building has had the electrical safety test, what is it, the wellness test? The fitness test?
It's a report, electrical installation condition report.
Yeah. Because the other thing as well that we're hoping to sort out today is as well, we've got a lot of stuff like this down here, which was also signed off by the same electrician. And it's just like, those are just not in use apparently. But what would be awesome, we need to box in these wires. Don't know if that'll get done today, but we need to look at boxing in these wires. And also just find out if we can just rip out this stuff that's just not in use. Like, where does this go? Why is it still there? Why wasn't it ripped out and blanked, you know? So we want to see what we can do here, because this place used to be a hair salon, and they had a big, enormous water heater here for all of the showers, which is why there's a lot of just stuff, and there's like all these switches. The landlord doesn't know what any of this stuff is. I was under the impression that when he got the electrical test done, the electrician was going to come in and just rip all of this out. However, it sounds like to me that basically the electrician came in and did the minimum standard to make the place legal. And so now we're just stuck picking up the rest of it. So, yeah. So we've got to do that. And more excitingly, we're replacing all of these sodding CCFL light fittings. So all of these guys, these are all getting pulled out. And we've got these new LED panels to go in. So these are 5,000K color temperature LED panels. They're 30 watt or 35 watt, I think it was. 35, wasn't it?
I think they're 35 watts, these panels.
Yeah.
3,000 lumens each.
3,000 lumens each. So yeah, that's a lot of light. We're going to have an enormous amount of light in here, and I'm actually concerned that we're going to have too much light, which I don't think is a problem that can exist for me, but we might have that issue. But the worst, having too many is better than not enough. So we've been having a look and we've been counting tiles. One of the issues we've got is all the lights are just... when these lights were put in, they tried to arrange them to follow the shape of the room. So you can see that these ones near the front are staggered along the front of the shop. But the result of that is that when you pull back and look at the room as a whole, the lights just seem to be in random locations to me. You know, they tried to go for a grid, but they've just ended up looking all over the place, in my opinion. So we're trying to figure out exactly how to arrange these lights in such a way that they're in a nice, even grid. So we're going to be figuring that out as well. But we'll cover that. We'll cross that bridge as we get to it. So the first thing we need to do, the first thing that we're going to do is I need to do some tidying up and clear some space back. My job today is going to be to get rid of all of the cardboard and rubbish that's accumulating in here while John does all the hard work. And then we need to pull down all the old lights. I'm guessing that's where we start anyways, pull down all the old lights.
Yeah, I'm going to need to do a bit of investigation and see what's above the ceiling, see how everything's connected, and just do a bit of assessment first and we'll go from there.
Okay, groovy. Right, let's go on with that then.
Basically, I've got these connectors, so I intend to just utilise some of the existing cabling if it's long enough. I've got additional connectors if we need them. Cut that off of the old lights, connector, new lights.
Yeah.
And if you want to...
So this is the driver, I take it.
That's the driver.
Yeah. Oh, cool. And that just plugs into that. Oh, that's nice and easy, isn't it?
Easy, so,
yeah. Cool.
You can be the electrical apprentice for the day if you want.
Yay! I'm helping. See how they're going to look. Well, they'll look like squares, I guess, but yeah. Oh, that'll be nice, yeah.
Voila.
Now comes the game of getting it to drop into place. Yeah, it's got to come back out again, hasn't it? So yeah, that's fine. She'll be right. Nice. Groovy.
Nice diffusers on these as well.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Nice, I think £40.
Yeah. So tell me about the connectors that we've got here, because when I sent you a picture of you wanted to know what kind of, if they were wired in at all, and you sent me a picture of a single connector that had exactly the same brand on it, that Click brand. And then I said, I can do you one better than that. I've got these big old 10 blocks. Yeah.
Because one way of doing it would be to have one of these roses in the ceiling per light fitting.
Yeah.
But this is just like a distribution point.
Yeah. So is this a standard thing, or is it just a common thing?
It's quite common, yeah, for sort of commercial buildings for the lighting infrastructure. And you just fit a distribution point as many as you need, sort of per lighting zone. Because commercial, ceiling and things like this are quite modular.
Yeah.
It's easy to move things about, and it's just a common way of doing it, really. Nice,
yeah, and they certainly plug in easily enough. Yeah, it makes our life easier. Sweet. Ah.
Voila.
And there's the ballast and the connector. Yeah, so at least that wasn't a huge amount of work to scavenge the wire. Yeah, so it just means that we don't. It just means that we don't leave half a wire just sticking out the back of those. Because, I mean, of course, it's entirely likely that I'm basically just thinking of, should the day come when I leave this shop, am I going to be required to put up all of these old lights again, or am I going to say, you know what, they can have the LED lights if I move out of here. Yeah. And we'll just lob all of these in the bin.
Well, the thing is, it's early days at the minute, and who knows what could happen, So,
yeah, exactly. Like, it would be the only time. The only thing I'm anticipating is my opt-out clause is at 9 months. Once I'm past the 9-month marker, I'm committed to at least 3 years, and that means whatever happens, I'm going to try and make it work.
Yeah.
So. I think, it's kind of a case. I'll probably keep them in the back room for like 9 months. And then after that, I'm going to be like, right, I don't care about these sodding lights. Again, at this point, if I do move out of this shop, they can just have the nice LED lights. I'm not going to be that guy. So... straight away, now there's 2 of them over there, this place is starting to light up.
Yeah.
And the other thing, of course, where these are 5000K panels and they're daylight white, obviously you can't...
Not daylight. Well, almost daylight. Yeah.
They look the same colour as outside, so the light that we're seeing from them, this just looks like illumination from the window, so it's harder to see it. Whereas obviously the old ones being banana yellow, you can see the light from them more clearly.
Yeah, I saw you getting it.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
And it's it's an issue with perception.
Yeah, I do consider 5K to be daylight. However, when you get to 6K, that's when you get the more significant kind of blue tint to it.
Yeah. This is absolutely this is about the. I think this is a good colour for me. This is a nice a neutral, natural, whatever you want to call it.
I agree. Because I think
wouldn't use it at home, but in this setting, yes.
4K would have looked a little bit yellow, even though it's not. I think 5K is the best.
Yeah.
Best option. I think 6 would have been a little bit too blue.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't want to go any higher than this. Yeah, like now we've got 3 down this bench. This bench is lit up, so now we're away from the window. It's not a concern, is it?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, again, we're not turning it on and going, "Whoa, that's a miniature sun."
No.
But again, you wouldn't want it to be, because then I'd be standing in here squinting.
Yeah.
And that was my concern about having too much light, is that I'd be standing in here, and by the end of the day, I'd be like, "Cool, these lights are getting a bit much. I've been under them all day." This is fine, isn't it?
And I think that's the benefit of these nice diffusers as well. It's a nice, clean, non-glare, evenly distributed, isn't it?
Yeah, and that is good for taking pictures, and it also means that, when I've got the show computers here with all of the RGB on them, the colours will all look right. Because that's the other issue as well, and that's the other reason why part of me wanted to go slightly warm for a nice cosy look. But the other thing as well is that if you have warmer colour temperatures, when you try and take a picture of a computer that's got blue LEDs in it, the blue just explodes and blooms out and just blows out the whole picture. So obviously having a nice 5000K, that's a nice neutral colour that will bring out the colour of all the show computers.
See a joint over there somewhere behind you, hanging down. See that joint there?
Oh yeah, what the shit?
It's a professional install.
Yeah.
The sound system.
I'm tempted to rip it all out.
Yeah, I mean it's crap. The quality.
Yeah, like I'm not using them. I've no intention of using them. I'm tempted just to take them out. Yay! Okay, it's the next day and I've had time to tidy up all of the building rubbish that was in here and sweep the floor and stuff like that. So now after a long day yesterday, I'm able to really sort of see the effects of the work we've done. With the new lights in place, it's so bright in here. It's fantastic. And it's bright in the best possible way. We've got this lovely 5000K soft daylight white light everywhere. However, these panels, ignore the flicker by the way, that's my phone doing that. These panels are really, really well diffused. You can stare at them with the naked eye and they don't look bright. When we actually turned the first panel on, we were actually very underwhelmed. We were just like, is that it? But by the time we've got 9 of these panels up in each room, there was no concern at all. I mean, if I come over here and I switch the lights on and off, you can see the effect that these are having. Like even with the studio lights in the back room, the amount of light these things put down is fantastic and there's no glare. When we planned to put 9 of these panels in, I was actually kind of worried that I was going to make it too bright. And by the end of the day, my eyes would be aching from sitting under really bright lights for too long. Because, you get that with studio lights. By the time you've been under studio lights for hours at a time, it does start getting fatiguing. And you're like, oh, my eyes need a rest. But that's not the case at all. It's really nice. And then, of course, we've got the other major feature is the window. So I wasn't expecting us to get this done in one go, but Jon just went at it and was just like, look, this isn't necessarily the right way to do this. However, we can get this done in one go if we just get on with it. And that's exactly what he did, and he just cut the damn thing out. So I was very pleasantly surprised at how little damage there is to this arch. Like there's a little bit of scuff where we've knocked out that frame and everything, but all things considered, this is just polyfiller sand and paint, and that's fine, basically. The windowsill, this needs to be replaced. This windowsill is there, but we'll get rid of that. Put an MDF board down there, and just silicone that in from underneath, and we'll have a new windowsill, as it were, and then that'll look really nice as well. I'll likely put 1 or 2 shelves halfway up across this thing so I can have things on display, like display boxes or miniatures or something like that, I don't know. And then as a finishing touch, I'm probably going to get a blind fitted to it so I have the option of closing the blind and having privacy. So that means when I'm out the back here, during the day when the shop is open, I can be working on the recording bench here and I can be sitting here working, and I can see the front room and I can be seen as well. So when people come up to the front door or look in through the front window, they can see that I'm in here and working instead of being hidden away. Because that's very important. If people can't see anyone in the shop, they think you're closed and things like that. And then, as I say, on Saturday, if I want privacy for doing the podcast and I don't want to be bothered, close the blind, and then, people can't see me anymore. So that's great, and I'm very happy. And also, of course, now I can hang out at the back room a bit more. We can start putting shelves and benches along this back wall. I've just put a trestle table there for now. I'm probably going to put that grey bench along the back. But I put the trestle table there for now because we're also going to pull all of this out again soon TM to deal with these cables down here. So there's 2 grey cables and a white cable there. The white cable isn't connected to anything. That goes to what would have been an old shower installation out in the back room. So that we're just going to rip out because it doesn't need to be there. And the 2 grey cables are feeding some of the sockets. They go to those sockets on the wall over there. However, it's a very convoluted route. It comes down from the ceiling, down there, along the floor, to the sockets, and then up again. And I said to Jon, I need to box these in because the landlord, I have an agreement with the landlord that I would get those cables boxed in. And he said, well, I can do you one better than that. We can rip out the white cable and put the grey cables through the ceiling. And then you don't need to box them in because they won't be there. So we're going to do that. There's also a load of old isolator stuff behind those boards there as well, which again just doesn't go anywhere. So we're just going to rip it all out. And then we'll just simplify things. While there's nothing in the shop that is unsafe per se, but there's lots of stuff which is just no one bothered to pull out. And so it's come down to a factor of how much work we want to do, how deep down this rabbit hole do we want to go. And it's all about balancing effort versus, cost versus worth, if you see what I mean. You know, there's some things like moving those cables, totally worth it, because then I don't have to box them in. But there are other things like some of the cables that don't go anywhere that are up in the ceiling. They're up in the ceiling. They're not connected. They're not live. You know, there's no prizes for me taking those out or anything. So what we were doing is trying to balance things. Same as fitting the lights. You know, we reused a lot of the cables going to those lights because we could have ripped all the cables down, made up new ones, pinned them all to the ceiling and all the rest of that. But then it would have taken us twice the amount of time and twice the cost as well. So it's all about balancing how far we want to go and being reasonable. So, but I'm quite happy with the amount we got done yesterday. I really didn't think we were going to get that window done. That was a very pleasant surprise. So all in all, I'm very happy with the progress this time round. So I'm not sure what's coming up next, but again, I'll keep you guys updated as things are happening. Thank you once again, everyone, for your support. I'm really feeling like we're starting to move in the direction of the vision now. So I'll see you soon in the next video. In the meantime, cheery bye. Doodles.